Hey, what's going on, guys? Happy Wednesday. I don't even know what day it is, man. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Sit On Shut Up. We're going to have Thrifty Mac on today. Let's give it a few minutes here. I think they're still working out to get onto the Discord call, so give it a minute or two here. I hope you guys are doing well tonight. Let's see here. All right, so Thrifty Mac mentioned they are Diamond 3 DJ, looking to get some help. Any tips appreciated there. I guess they just need to know what to do, right? So they're looking for something to do. Very common question I get in training, like these type of coaching things, like, oh, I don't know what I should be doing, so I need help with what I don't know. And that's more common than you think. I think that just because you don't know exactly what you need to work on doesn't necessarily mean that you are. Just because you don't know what to work on doesn't necessarily mean you can't get coaching. That's what I'm trying to say. So one sec here. Let me just get them into the. Let's see here. Let's see if I get them into the thing. One sec. I think they're kind of new to Discord. No big deal. Let me just get the. So yeah, I mean, again, like I was trying to say, just because you don't know what to do doesn't necessarily mean, or don't know what you need to work on doesn't necessarily mean you can't get coaching, right? It's something that I think, if you are feeling stuck or you're feeling like you are having problems in game, like not able to execute things that you want, or not winning, or your win rate isn't what you want it to be, right? There's no reason why you couldn't have someone take a look at your gameplay, get some information like that, right? So. Anyway, I pinged them. Okay, so navigating Discord here. So, yeah. You guys doing well tonight? Let's see. What else can I talk about? That's interesting. Looks like Lord of the Mains. So if you're new to the Fight Rise community, and not quite sure, you're new to Fight Rise community, or haven't been paying attention, the Lord of the Mains seeding has been done. I think there was a stream for it earlier today. I haven't had a chance to look at the bracket. I'm a little salty I didn't make it, to be honest. But it is what it is. And yeah, I mean, the bracket is out, so I think the way they played, I think they just schedule their matches on their own. I'm not quite sure if there's another thing there. Oh, let's see, they're joined. Okay. Hey, Thrifty Mac, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Perfect. Figured it out. Cool.
Yeah, I think I've
Gotcha.
figured it out.
Okay, cool. So I guess we got started. So I looked at the message you had left me. It looks like you are currently running DJ, Diamond 3, and just kind of looking for like general help. Does that sound about right?
That's it.
Okay. So tell me a little more about what's been going on in your games. Like, is there anything you're running into in particular that you're having trouble with? Is it kind of just everything that's happening? Like, give me a little more information, I guess.
All right. I guess with me, I've been told a lot that I mash a lot on wake up a lot of the times.
Okay.
That's the one thing I say everybody I have problems with. Usually have good defense, they say, but sometimes they just think I'm not patient enough. I think that's what it is. My last couple of games I came from, I've played pretty well.
Okay.
I mean, I've done pretty well, honestly. I've ranked up pretty nicely today, but like again, my schedule doesn't permit me to really play a whole lot, so I try to do what I can. But
Sure.
I think that's one of the main issues.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't know. And also my super game isn't the best. Sometimes like I just got to practice more of that, getting the supers out. But I think it's mainly just my patience. That's all. I think that's what that is.
Okay, and that's fair. I think that a lot of folks, when they're getting through Diamond, you start to run into issues where it's like the autopilot that's been getting you into Diamond doesn't quite work the same way, and you kind of get blown up for it, right? So, okay, cool. So I invited you to a custom room. So go ahead and join me, get a chance, and then, or when you're ready, and go ahead and queue up. So I don't know if you're familiar with the format of this, but basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna run a first to three. I'll try to get a sense of like what you might be struggling with, get a sense of where kind of you're at overall. After that, we'll do a replay review. So we'll take a look at one of the games that we played, right? Do a little in-depth review there. And we'll also take a look at one of the replays that you sent me, right? So you sent me a number of replays there. I'll grab one of those and kind of go through that. The reason we do that is because, the way that I may be beating you or what you're running into against me, right, when we're playing,
Yeah.
may look very different than what you run into in ranked, right? Because obviously, where I am in ranked, you are, right? It's going to be different, right? It's just the nature of it.
Yeah.
So, how I'm beating you or how I'm winning may not be how other, may not be representative of what you're seeing right now in ranked, right? So looking at both of those perspectives can help a lot. Seeing where you're at now and seeing where you're going and what you're working towards, right? After that, if there is a specific kind of thing we want to take a look at in depth, we can hop into the lab, do a little lab work there. Maybe there's an interaction of some kind we want to make sure that we understand, right? Then afterwards, if there's time and you're up for it, we can run it back, run another first to three, see if anything that I talk about helps or not. Yeah, so if that all sounds good to you, I sent an invite in the to the custom room, so hopefully you'll be able to join that. Go ahead and queue up in any slot here. I'll join you in a sec. What I'll mention here is that I will deafen during our first to three, and I'll also the reason I do that is because I tend to talk a lot during this section, right? Because as I'm articulating what I'm seeing and what I'm noticing, so that if you do go back and look at this VOD later, you'll see what I was looking at during the game, right? Also, the rematch, I may not rematch right away, as again, it's because I'm talking through what I'm seeing, articulating thoughts and all that. So the time I may run down to 1 or 2. Don't worry, I'm still here. I'll make sure that we rematch, right? But so don't worry about that happening, right? So yeah, go ahead and queue up. I'll join you in any slot, anywhere you want. It's your preference, and good luck.
All right, thanks, man. All right. Now I appreciate this.
Yeah, for sure. Good luck. All right, so Thrifty Mac, I don't think I've played them. Maybe I have, I don't know. Macmits. Could be familiar, I'm not sure. Pretty honest. I run into a lot of folks, obviously. So again, what I think what they've mentioned is something that is very common for folks, is that the things that they've been doing to get to the rank that they're at no longer work, right? For one reason or another, right? It's kind of like if you're a rookie and you're able to do DIs and you can spam it and it works really well, right? People aren't reacting to DI, then you're gonna win, right? Eventually, people will stop losing to DI. Okay. Oh, nice. Okay. Oh, DP was so late. Okay, mash. Nice anti-air. Oh. Oh. A little bit of a lag spike there, no big deal. Reversal? Oh. Well, active. Okay. So right now what I'm noticing is that I think they're spacing hey chap dude, what's good, butter? Yeah, Outfit 3, man. I earned this, man. I spent money on it and then I got the EX color for it, so now I gotta use it. So the anti-air is good, right? What I'm noticing though is that in neutral I think they may not quite have the spacing down that they want, right? Oh, I didn't block. Oh, I tried to flash kick. I think there's a little bit of lag spike there, unfortunately. Dropped it, but okay. So what I'm noticing right now is that they very much want to press buttons, right? They want to be the one doing the button pressing in particular, right? And I think that's pretty indicative of gameplay that works because you just run someone over and that's it, right? Like if I mash against this a lot, or if I try to be as active as they are, I'm probably gonna lose because Deejay is gonna be able to beat me in that scenario, right? So let's see how they do in the mid range. Oh. Oh, my phone is ringing. They gotta make a decision here. Oh, there you go. Oh. couple of missed flash kicks too, or up kicks, I guess. I probably should call it up kick. We're missing reversal basically. I know they want to do it. It could just be a charge thing. Could be some of the issue with like our connection. Oh, nice. So they do anti-air with the slide, which seems to work pretty well. Oh, I didn't cross up. Oh, you know what? I should probably just do run DP there. Flash kick. Oh. Oh! I didn't super? Come on. Okay. Yeah, I want to say that right now, the way I'm kind of winning is I win a couple of neutral interactions, and I think what ends up happening is they try to be active on defense, and then I open them up, right? So, very common. I don't think this is, like, you know, necessarily a bad thing. Like, probably not running into someone as, like, kind of better about spacing, right? Okay. That's very active, right? Maybe a little reliant on slide as well in neutral. So I think what's happening here is that they're not able to kind of get in the way they want, right? Normally, I feel like normally they win because they're able to press buttons. And people just kind of run into it. Nice. I probably could have killed here if I had routed that properly. Something I'm working on, I guess. I have to route combos correctly. Yeah, I think they tried to super there, it didn't come out. So let's bring it back on and see what they think. I think I have an idea of what's going on. Mostly it's just against me anyway. There's maybe some matchup stuff, but we could talk about it. Hey, 30, how'd it go? What do you think?
Okay, hi, I'm here. All right.
Tough one, huh?
I feel like I'm getting beat by masters all day, man. I don't know how I find the time, man.
Yeah, so I think like I was saying on the stream, I think against me in particular, right? And kind of what I'm gathering happens in your games is that with Deejay, it's really easy to kind of just press buttons, right? Like you can press and people will just run into it, right? Because a lot of what he does automatically space traps, right? So if you space your button correctly, like say the crouching medium kick, and it's blocked correctly, and I try to take my turn back, you can just kind of press your next button and it'll punish counter whatever I do, or you know, whiff punish me, basically like space trap me, and then you'd be able to go in your combo, right? Like you can just drive rush cancel, or you know, raw drive rush, or whatever option you want, right? So when I stopped pressing against those situations, right, it kind of was like, oh, now what do I do, right? So then you started doing more slides, more jumps, right, to try to get around the neutral that was happening, right? You tried throwing fireballs. I kind of got around that by walking and parrying, eventually jumping, right? You tried to bait a little bit, and I managed to stay at a range where it was kind of awkward for you to play neutral.
Definitely.
And then I would land a hit, like a straight hit, drivers cancel, and Ken with his corner carry puts you in the corner, and then you feel like you have to guess, right? And now it's like I can't mash, or like you were trying to super or reversal, and I think it didn't come out in a couple spots. So, and then again, like in those situations too, it feels like you're getting opened up, right? Like it feels like, oh, I can't do anything, or when I do something, it's baited or blocked, right? So we take a look at one of these replays here, and we can kind of talk about what was happening during the game, and see what decisions or what was happening that would make a difference. So I'm gonna share my screen in Discord here. You should be able to see it. Give me a sec here. There you go, stream it in there. And if you can't see it there, I am streaming on Twitch right now, so it's a little bit, you know, obviously there'll be a little delayed, but you can look at it there too if you can't see it on Discord. So just let me know when you can see my screen in Discord, and we can get started.
I just see the screen.
You
Hold
see
on, let
it?
me see.
Oh,
That's it. Yeah.
okay. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at game 2 here. I think this one's probably the one we want to watch. All right, cool. So we're just going to look at the replay here. Let's take a look at what was happening, kind of the decision points, if you will, and what was going on here. So pretty sure what we're going to see is some spacing stuff, right, we can talk about. So let's take a look. Right, so stuff like this, right? So I don't mind like the use of Sobot here in neutral at that spacing, right? It kind of works like a fireball, right? If I happen to walk into
That's
it and
how to
block,
use it.
yeah, I can't, I really can't do anything, right? So like, I think I have to. Oop. So if we go back, and I just walk forward here, right? Right, it's -6, but I can't reach you, right? So it's very difficult for Ken to punish from that scenario, right? Now, obviously, I hit you because you're moving back in the replay, so I can't really quite simulate it that way. But I don't necessarily mind doing that in particular if it's spaced correctly, right? What is tough about it, though, is that it loses to the same things that fireballs lose to, right? So if you throw a fireball from that range and I jump it, you're going to get hit. Same thing with the Sobot, right? So if you do that and I jump it, you're going to get hit, right? So luckily I don't do that, right? So I just kind of be a little patient here, right? And instead what I do is do this. Right, walk up and press this stand light kick, right? So this is kind of an eye-opening thing I think for a lot of folks is why did I do this, right? Why did I just walk up and press a button, like a fast button like that, right? Like this accomplished nothing in terms of damage or anything like that, or why did I do this, right? So the reason for this is because in game 1, I noticed that you try to press buttons in those situations, right? So you try to do the Sobot, right? And if it was blocked or anything like that, you would try to press a follow-up button from there, right? Say like a crouching medium kick or something to that effect, right? You press another button. So effectively what I'm doing here is I'm kind of calling out that tendency by walking up and pressing a faster button, right? So Ken Stand Light Kick is a 5-frame button that reaches kind of far. Right, so I just walk up into a range where if you had pressed anything after that, it would stuff it, right? Like I would get a counter hit stand light kick, right? So pay attention to that thing happening. You're gonna notice it kind of happen a little bit more often throughout this game, right? But basically, what's happening here is that I've made an adjustment to the neutral that you're playing, right? Basically, you want to try to space trap me, so I'm going to try to beat that by walking up and pressing a faster button as best I can, right? So we'll move on from here, I think. Right, so good slide. A little bit, you caught me at the very tail end of it, so it was good. For some reason, I'm not blocking. I think he just caught me for whatever reason. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's see. Yeah, he caught me as I was trying to back up, right? So it was good. Good call out here.
I know it's definitely real minus on it. I know definitely that slide is
Yeah, I think
minus.
yeah, and I think you use it a lot, right? And again, not like necessarily a bad thing in particular if it's working, right? And you're able to anti-air with this pretty effectively too, right? So I jumped, you do this, and then you go into up kicks, right, and get me, right?
Yeah.
So not a huge issue to use this, but relying on this can be kind of risky, right? There's a couple of times where I block this and punish you for it, right? So here it worked though, so I get a knockdown, good, right? Go for the heavy kick, right? Now here's another situation where it's a space trap, right? So if I try to press, I'm not going to reach you, right? So you saw that right there. Like I tried to press the 6-framer here, and my crouching medium punch doesn't reach, right? So had you done the thing that you had been doing, which is to press a follow-up button here, you would have tagged me here, right? You kind of don't. You just kind of let that end, and that's fine. This is fine too, right? Like this is not a loss of the situation, right? It's not a lost interaction in particular, right? You press something, you're minus. There's an opportunity, but you didn't take it, and that's okay, right? Because there's no net negative now. We're back to neutral here, right? So, again, if you are going to go for these kind of space trap type setups and stuff, you do kind of have to commit to it, right? So from here, you would probably press stand heavy punch or whatever button that you could use to drive rush cancel or get a whiff punish with, right? So. All right, so something that's very important in 2D fighting games is space, right? So if we look at the situation here, right? After I block the stand heavy kick, right? So after this situation here, right? see how many buttons I press and how many buttons you press in the next, say, 10 seconds or so. Like, we'll just let this play out. So 5 seconds later ish, right? We've both pressed maybe one or two buttons. I pressed a couple of buttons to try to catch you moving forward. You don't do it, right? So you start walking back. Then I kind of stop pressing and I just start walking, right? Like, you're backing up here, ostensibly to throw a fireball or get some space back. And instead of me allowing you to do that, instead of me just letting that happen and doing nothing, I just walk up and take up the space, right? So if you look at the space now, right, between what had occurred here, right, this situation, look how much closer to the corner you are now, right? Like, I don't back up at all, right? So what I want to say here is that you do have to be careful trying to back up in this manner, right? So you're trying to back up for, a couple of reasons. Typically, people back up because they don't want to be in the spacing they're standing at, right? So they try to back up out of that pressure. Or they want to back up so they can zone, right? So you can start throwing fireballs or get to a more comfortable situation, right? Because maybe you want to back up so you can do like a neutral skip, right? Like, back up so you can raw drive rush, back up so you can jump, whatever, right? So me being who I am, right? I don't want you to have that. I don't want you to have that. I'm your opponent, right? I don't want you to have that, right? So I just walk up and take up the space you are giving to me for free, right? And then what ends up happening is you get whiff punished, and this should lead to a combo if I don't drop it, right? And then now you're in the corner, right? So had you stood your ground a little bit better, and by making me not walk, by standing, planting, trying to fight me in that neutral game, it's less likely you'd end up in the corner after that interaction, right? So just something to keep in mind. I know it's a little bit higher level, but I think you wanted to know, like, how you were kind of losing to the higher level folks, right? Because I think I've seen you on the Discord playing other people, right? Running into the monsters at Fight Rise, right? Like, playing games with them.
Man, listen.
And this is the level that they're playing, if not better, right? Like, a lot of them are a lot better than I am, and this is sort of the things that we see in game that we take advantage of best we can, right? So again, holding your ground a little bit, trying not to just give up space for free as best you can. Now, there are situations where you do need to back up, right? Or you should be backing up. Like, if you wanted to get to a spacing, again, like you wanted to get to a space where you can throw a fireball, right? Get to a space where you can do a raw drive rush, right? Or get out of a dangerous situation, kind of makes sense to back up, right? If you can. But if you default to just doing that, then most good players will just walk forward, right? So I'm sure you notice it in games, like you're playing somebody, you try to do this backup strategy, like by backing up, of backing up, and they just walk forward, right? They're not pressing any buttons, they're not falling for any of your baits or your tricks or anything like that. They just walk forward, right? They take up the space, and then all of a sudden nothing has happened, right? In terms of like button presses, health exchanges, or anything like that. But now you feel more pressure because you're getting closer to the corner, right? And the reason for that is because you're giving it up for free, right? So anyway, so it's just I'll talk a little bit more about those situations if I see it, but I just wanted to highlight that as a potential reason why you run into situations where now it's like I have to guess all the time. So you have to guess all the time.
You think it's beneficial to start studying like the plus and minus buttons on my character? I feel like I do every once in a while, but I kind of skim the surface of some of the plus and minuses and everything. And I definitely know my sweep is definitely minus, 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 minus.
Yeah, like yeah. So what I'll say about frame data in particular, right? So kind of a bit of a tangent, right? So we talk about frame data. You don't have to memorize all of it, right? There's kind of a couple of different categories that I think you should be aware of, but you don't have to memorize the actual numbers, right? So the categories, I don't want to give a number. The categories would be plus, right, which means that it's still your turn. So I think DJ has like one plus button, but like plus on block, right? So normally when we talk about frame data, let me preface that it's usually on block frame data, right? So because on hit, it doesn't quite matter as much for defensive purposes, right? The on hit frame data matters more for comboing and that type of thing, but that's a different branch, if you will, of like study. On defense, right, for on block frame data typically, right? So you have plus on block, which means that it's still your turn and you can continue pressing buttons to try to frame trap. There's safe on block, which means that you are -3 or better, right, technically. But what that really means is that your opponent can't punish you, right? So like a jab, for example, is like usually -1, -2. So if you do a jab on somebody and they block it, your turn is over, because technically it's over. There's still some consideration for chaining lights and all that, but like from a pure frame data standpoint, since you're minus, you typically can't continue pressing buttons because your opponent now has advantage and they could press and they'll beat you, right? So you have to block. And then there's unsafe, right? So unsafe or punishable usually means that you are -4 or worse on block, right? So since the fastest moves in Street Fighter 6 are 4-frame moves, if you are -4 or worse, your opponent should be able to punish you, right? Now there are some caveats when it comes to the minus frames and spacing, right? So you saw that you were -6 on the Sobot if you landed, but Ken doesn't have a normal that reaches that far, right? So I can't punish you. So even though you're minus and punishable, the spacing makes it such that you can't be punished, right? So that's that consideration there. And those would be the kind of the categories they're looking. Now there are some moves that are 0-1 block, right? So they're kind of neutral. That'd be the other category. I consider that just like neutral, right? They're not really positive or negative. You kind of have to make a decision in those situations. But those would be kind of the categories to look at. Now, obviously, with Drive Rush, if you adds 4 frames of advantage, right? So a lot of minus move frames become plus on block, and you can continue your pressure from there, right? Because you spend resources to do it. So, but yeah, you don't need to know the numbers necessarily, right? Like unless you want to. If you want to spend the time to look at it, go for it by all means. It'll make the game a little easier when it comes to like understanding the theoretical punishes that you can and can't be doing.
Yeah.
But for the most part, if you look at how I'm punishing you, I'm just using a jab, like a 4-framer or a 6-framer, and if I know it's really minus, then I use an 8-framer. But I just happen to know what buttons are punishable. That's really all you really need to know, right? The punishable buttons, the safe buttons, and the plus buttons, right? So if you know those categories for your character, and ideally those categories for your opponent, it makes it a little easier to play the game. Now, you don't have to, right? You don't have to know frame data. You can play purely on vibes, and people do it all the time. People have been doing that for the last 30 years, right? You didn't have frame data charts like you do these days in Street Fighter 2 days, right? You just kind of went on vibes. You can still do that, and there's nothing wrong with playing that way. It's just that if you want to put the theory into the practice, right, that's happening for punishes and stuff, then the frame data can help. So this is all to say that if you want to spend time studying it, you can, but it's not this, like, knowing frame data in particular for most things isn't what's going to help you climb overall, right? It'll supplement it, but it may not be the main issue you're running into, right? So cool.
All
right, so good reversal here. You went for defensive option. I had been going for these meaty stuff, so this is good. All right, so you sway here, potentially trying to bait something out. You don't do anything. The unfortunate thing here, though, is that after this reversal, you end up in the corner again. Right? I just walk up the corner here. Right, and this is a throw loop situation, right? I'm pretty sure I throw you like 3 or 4 times here.
Yeah.
Right. So throw loops are really tough to deal with in Street Fighter 6, right? Ken's in particular. So this is a Ken specific thing. If you back roll in the corner against Ken when he throws you, the throw loop is now a 1-frame link for Ken. So if you're playing against a Ken that's throwing you in the corner, always back roll in the corner, right? I know it's contrary to what people say in terms of when you should be back rolling, but for some reason in this game, if you back roll, it becomes a 1-frame link for Ken to hit the throw loop, the actual like true throw loop. But if you don't back roll and just get up normally, it's now a 4-frame link. I don't know why that's the case. I don't know why Capcom did that. But if you're against a Ken that throws you in the corner, always back roll, right? That way you force him to have to hit the 1-frame link to throw you again. That said, throw loops again are a difficult situation because you have to guess, right? You have to guess if you want to tech, if you want to reversal, wake up button, jump, or whatever the case may be, right?
Usually most of the time I try to jump out the corner. I
Yeah.
know you called me a couple times. I was trying to jump out the corner.
Yeah. So jumping is typically a good option against a throw loop if you think they're going to throw again, right? So, like, if we think about the situation, if I walk up, right, and you jump from here, so from right here, right? I whiff the throw. If I'm ready, you eat a crosscut DP though, right? Like I'm able to hit you on the way out, but at least you're out of the corner, right? You're out of the corner with minimal damage overall, and now you have an opportunity to put me in the corner or back up or do whatever you want, right? But you don't have to deal with Ken corner pressure anymore. So that's usually a good option, right? If you are thinking that they're going to continue throw looping, right? So that's fine. The other things that if you decide to jump and they shimmy or do something else, right? You'll still eat a crosscut DP potentially, right? So if they do like a meaty jab, or if they go for like a delay jab rather, or delay button, they go for a shimmy or something like that, you're gonna be able to jump over them. And depending on what they press, they may or may not be able to anti-air you, right? Like they could crosscut DP you there. But jumping out of the corner is typically a good option, right? Because you're minimizing the amount of potential damage you can take to get out of the corner, right? Teching is another option you have, and you do that here, right?
Yeah.
After this parry, right? This is also another option, but it is risky, right? Because if you go for the delay tech here and I shimmy you, you're gonna eat.
Shimmy is over.
Yeah, you're gonna die, right? Like I can just cash out and kill you, right? So
Yeah.
it's risky, right? It's risky. So it's a specific option that you have to consider, and if it's worth the risk for you or not, right? Again, but if the reward is you get a lot of space, right? The text sends me 3/4 screen, and you get some meter back, right? So if you look at your meter here, right? So you ate that punish counter throw, right? And you gain almost a full bar of meter back for that delay tech, right? So there is a reward for teching there, right? Other options include just blocking, right? Taking the throw. So taking the throw is a situation where, eventually I may stop eventually, right? And if you continue blocking here, each throw is only doing 1,200 damage, right? So I have to throw you 10 times or 8 times, I guess, technically, to win, right? From full bar. So you think I'm going to actually throw you 8 times? That's up to you to decide if you think I'm going to do that or not. But most people don't, to be honest, right? They'll back up and try to shimmy you or something else after a couple of throws, right? So a throw loop situation, again, is just a situation where you have to make a decision at some point, right? And you do, right? You try to parry, assuming I'm going for a meaty potentially. I don't, and that's okay. That it happens. And then you tech out of the situation, and that's it, right? So anyway, that's all I want to say about that in particular, because this was actually defended okay, right? If you think about how much damage you took, it's like 3 throws, right? The issue ends up being this punish counter throw here, unfortunately, but not the end of the world. You're still alive, right? Still alive here, so. All right, so there's the slide. I don't know. So I didn't know that this is -4 from that scenario, right? So I just jab, and it whiffs actually, right? So, even me at this level, I don't know all the frame data in particular, but I do know that a jab should have been able to punish you here, but it didn't, right? It didn't reach. So why did you get hit here though, right? So after the whiff, you're just late on your button, right? So I don't think this is a huge deal. You try to press, I just happen to press a little sooner, is what it is, right? So, but here's something interesting. So let's take a look right here. Right? So after your crouching medium kick, what do you do? Right? Let's take a look. Right, so this crouching medium kick whiffs, right? You miss it. Now I walk up and press the big button. And it catches you trying to throw a fireball, right? So why did this happen, right? Like what causes, or what can we do to avoid the situation, right? So realistically speaking, this is a little too close to throw a fireball, right? From right here. Even if I wasn't pressing anything, right? If I just did nothing here, right? And let this play out. Right? So your fireball comes out here, but if you look how close you are, anything I press would interrupt that, right? So if you look at this, right? I can press this. Right? Press this. Press this. Right? So what is happening here is that the space that you're at means that you can't throw that heavy fireball, basically, right? That's what I'm trying to get at. So if you pay attention to the spacing that you're standing at, it should dictate the options that you have available to you, right? So for example, throwing a fireball point blank, probably not the best option, right? Like you could do it, right? Nothing's stopping you from doing that. But you see what happens here, right? Is that basically anything I actually do to try to poke you will stuff it, because the startup of the fireball is a bit slow.
It was long. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Especially for DJ's heavy fireball. Right now, if we're talking about like Guile Sonic Booms or some of the better projectiles in the game, it's a little bit of a different story, right? But I still think that's a little close, right? Because again, anything I do, even if I just press my button from that scenario there, it's going to counter hit you, right? Because you're in the fireball startup. So what does that mean? That means that when you make just neutral decisions to press buttons, throw fireballs, jump, whatever, the space between the characters should dictate if that option was viable or not, is what I'm getting at. So if you're standing, half screen, full screen, right? You're standing very far away. DJ's heavy fireball is outstanding in that regard, right? You throw the fireball, I have to deal with 2 projectiles. It's hard to move forward through it, hard to perfect parry both of the projectiles, right? You have all the time in the world to charge, right? Throw it out. Makes a lot of sense to zone with that from that scenario, right? But when you're up close, because of the frame data and like how long it takes to come out and how slow it is and all that, it can be a bit of a liability, right? So, and now right now I doubt that it's like getting punished as hard as it is like when we played, where I basically stuffed a bunch of your fireballs. But it is something to
Yeah.
keep in mind, right? Like if you're throwing fireballs too close, you're probably going to eat a lot of counter hits, right? So just be wary of where you throw the fireball from. Oh, yeah. Missed flash kick here, no big deal. And then how'd you get hit here? Okay, so you missed the flash kick. I don't anti-air you. And then you try to do your button here, right? And it was close, right? If you look at the frame meter here, this is close. Is it possible to press the button in that situation? Yeah, it is. Yeah, I just happen to beat you out. Beat your button out, right? So, it is what it is. And then cash out your hit, so. Again, I think like overall, if we wanted to distill this down into where it kind of fell apart for you, it actually ends up being kind of earlier in the round where you back up, right? So once you get kind of into that corner, it is very difficult for you to try to get out of it, right? That's kind of what ended up happening was you ended up taking a little too much damage on trying to get out of that or fight your way out of that corner, and then you got counter hit in a couple spots, right? And I was able to convert. So this one, round 2. Right, so from here you can throw fireballs all day, right? Throw a fireball here. I'm probably gonna block it or parry it or whatever, but you can definitely throw it from here. Now it's too close. Good anti-air, right? Good stuff. Right. So I'm willing to bet that stuff like this like happens all the time in your games right now. You do something that is technically, I think this ends up being plus, right? The overhead here.
Yeah.
So it's plus.
Overhead, yes, definitely.
Yep. And then I tried to, I thought I was standing far enough away where your crouching medium kick wouldn't hit me. I was wrong. I get hit here, right? And if you look, the reason, first I'm standing too close. The second thing is that if you look, Ken's hurt box extends forward a little bit when he presses, right? So anyway, I get clipped here, right? So this sequence here, I'm willing to bet happens in your games a lot, right? You do a thing, someone presses, and you clip them. This is good. This is what you want to be doing, right? It's just that when people stop doing that and stop pressing, they have to figure something else out, right? But for now, if this is going to continue working against me, then you should keep doing it, right? I don't cross up. All right, what happened here? Yep. +2. You jab. It whiffs. It's okay. And then we both go for the crouchy medium kick, right? Sorry, good.
I should have just waited for my turn, huh?
Well, it technically is your turn here, right? So after you block this, right here, it's your turn now, right? You're +2. I can't really do anything here that will that can challenge a button. So I'm, as the Ken player, technically, I'm forced to block here, right? Because the next button you press can be up to a 5-frame button, and it will counter hit anything that I press that is 4 frames, right? So my fastest button here is now basically a 6-frame button, right? Because I'm -2. So if you press anything 5 frames or faster, you're gonna hit me, right? So you try to jab, it whiffs. That's unfortunate, but you do take your turn back, right? So you actually did it correctly here. The issue ends up being is that it whiffs, unfortunately, right? So I don't recognize the whiff, or I recognize the whiff, but I don't press right away. I actually react in what I consider a reasonable amount of time. So if you consider like the whiff here. Okay, so just saw the whiff, right? How many frames does it take for me to react with a button? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, right? So 10-ish frames, something like that, right? So what that suggests to me, in my head, like as Juzzy, I probably didn't react to this as a whiff punish. I probably just pressed the button because it was a spacing that made sense for that button, right? Like when you play against these high-level players, it's not always these sick-ass reactions where they're like reacting faster than the speed of light and whiff punishing your like lights and stuff. A lot of times what's happening is that they are selecting a button that makes sense for the space they're standing at, and you just happen to get hit by it, right? Like this space here, if you decide to back up after this whiff, I'm going to tag you, right? If you decide to walk up, I'm going to tag you, right? So like the space makes sense for me to press this button, so I do. It also kind of made sense for you to press your button, but you did just whiff something, right? So like most people when they whiff try not to press the second button here because you may get counter hit because the recovery is kind of long, right? So if you just blocked here, like, you know, you block this and nothing happens, right? So you have to deal with Jinrai mix-up, but you know it's better than getting hit, right? So yeah, just again be careful of pressing buttons like after you whiff, especially. Be careful about trying to follow up with a button, right? Because you are going to be in recovery for a little bit longer than you expect, right? So,
Right.
missed flash kick, I think. Unfortunate. Okay. Right, and then here, this is the big one, right?
Yep.
But you see, I still punish the jab, right? If you look at the frame data, it's technically minus 11, so I could put a pretty big punish on you from here, right? But I wasn't sure. Right? I wasn't sure what the actual frame data is here. I just know it's minus, and I can punish you with a jab. So that's what I do. Now, it's a mistake on my part here by spending drive and all that stuff, but, you know, what is what it is. All right, so you try to jump out again. And again, this is correct, I think. I'm backing up here. You jump out. I don't DP you, right? Now you get some pressure here. Ah. Okay, so I made a mistake here, but let's take a look at this sequence, right? So good anti-air. I have to deal with the fireball. I don't anti-air again. And then you managed to get a counter hit on me here with your kind of crouching medium kick, right? Like the sweep. one of DJ sweeps, right? You knocked me down.
Yeah.
Right, and then he whiff this, unfortunately. But if you look again at what happens, right? When do I press my button? Right, this for the whiff here, so this is 11, 12, 13 frames. 13 frames is a little bit tight for a pure reaction, right? That's pretty fast. Realistically speaking, most people like should be reacting in somewhere in the 17 to 18 frame range, right? So what I mean is that, like, you know, I'm not reacting to your whiff crouching medium kick, probably, right? What's really happening is that when I press my button here, you were standing at a range that made sense for me to press it, right? And I just want to emphasize that because right here, I've kind of committed to pressing the button. I'm like, okay, I'm going to press if he moves forward a little bit. And then I probably saw this and just went and just pressed it, right? So was it a pure whiff punish? Not really, right? Maybe there's some reaction on my part. But the real meat of that is that I'm standing at a space where that button makes sense to press. It just happens to work out. You whiff your button, and I land mine, right? So, mistake on my part. Don't need to burn out for that. Here's a safe jump, right? So it looks like you tried to do a is this a D-rev here? Maybe attack of some kind. Maybe DI, I'm not sure. You try to do something here, you get hit, right? So this is a safe jump, 42 frame safe jump, right? So miss my super. Okay. And then some defensive decision making here, right? So this is actually kind of tough. Like defending the safe jump here typically relies on you knowing how to do like a fuzzy guard, right? So are you familiar with like fuzzy guard and how that works?
A little bit, yeah.
Right? Okay. So to refresh your memory here, right? So the way that this mix-up works, like a safe jump mix-up, right, is you can't reversal, right? So if you reversal from here, it's going to get blocked, right? So if we take a look at this, right, I'm assuming you have charge. Oh, I'm going to go back. Hold up. I should have time. All right, so I'm going to charge. Right, so if I reversal in that situation, it's going to be blocked, right? It's a safe jump, right? So reversal is no longer an option for you. So the way the mix-up normally works is that the opponent that's safe jumping can go high, right? They can come down with the button. They can go low, so empty jump into a low of some kind. Or they can throw, right? So empty jump throw. So if you guess wrong, you're gonna get hit, right? So if you don't block high, right, you're gonna get hit by the jump in, right? If you block high because you're expecting the, if you block high because you're expecting that's okay. The replay's pretty much done anyway. But if you jump high expecting if you block high expecting them to go high and they go low, you get tagged by the low, right? And if you just continue blocking, you'll end up getting thrown, right? So additionally, if you delay tech and they do another neutral jump, they're gonna come down on you with a button, right? So let me get back on here. So how do you defend this, right? So that's where fuzzy guard comes in, right? So basically all this is that you are blocking at a specific timing and then you're inputting an option select at the end of it, right? So typically what people talk about here is a fuzzy guard delay tech OS, right? Oh no, my stream died, I think.
Yeah, no, I don't see the. I see the
Yeah,
main
hold on
screen
one
now.
sec here. Okay, there we go. Hopefully it's back. I don't know what happened there. My stream just disconnected for a second. Anyway, let me get back onto the thing. Let's see. Do you see my screen again?
Yes, it.
Okay. Let me get back into the replay here. All right, so what I was talking about was a fuzzy guard OS, right? So basically what you're going to do is you're going to block high, block low, and then input delay tech, right? So what this will do, and I can show you in the lab in particular if you want to look at that in depth, but what this will do is you'll guard the high if they go high, and if they just empty jump low, you'll start blocking low, right? So you'll block high long enough for the button to hit you, but if it doesn't hit you, you'll block low, right? So if they go for the low, then you'll be able to block that. And if they go for empty jump throw, you have a delay tech, right? So you end up delay teching the throw attempt, right? So that typically is a way to guard against safe jumps, right? So it's a good option because it blocks all three, right? So we could take a look at the lab, how to deal with like how that works after if you're interested.
Let's say block high, block low,
block high, block low, and then delay tech. Yeah, I'll show you in the lab after the replay. Just remind me. But it's a good option for safe jumps, right? In that scenario. So let's take a look at the situation we're at just to finish out the replay here, right? So if we go here, right? All right, safe jump, right? Unfortunately, get hit. So from here, I should have actually killed you, right? I have super. This is a super cancel. I tried, it didn't work. Is what it is. You go for a neutral jump here. You get anti-aired. And then you kind of go for like a jab here, or something like a delay jab, and it gets thrown, right? So corner defense-wise, right, you could have supered, reversaled anytime after that, potentially, right? Because you are going to die here. Yeah. The main decision point, though, is that I'm going to die to a EX reversal here, right? So if you do an OD up kick, right, so from here, after this, and I can't reversal. Well, I can't. Apparently, I can't do a flash kick, but I think you get the idea, though. If I had reversal, yeah, yeah, or if you super too, right? Level 1 or level 2, I guess potentially. Level 3 maybe it might be a waste though. But you could have killed me with that, right? So that decision point exists for you, and a reversal becomes a very real option that makes a lot of sense because you're dead anyway, right? So if I go for another meaty option here, I'm gonna die. But if I block your reversal, you're gonna die. And if you do nothing and I throw you, you're still going to die, right? So when it comes to situations like this, if you're going to bet it, right, like you could potentially gamble here and try to win it out, like steal the game, right? It makes a lot of sense, too, because you're down a round, right? So you can't take all this meter with you into round 3 if you die in round 2, right? Like this, right? So you might as well spend it potentially here to try to get a win.
I gotta pay more attention to my drive meter. That's man.
Listen. Yeah. I think you do actually a good job of managing it in terms of not burning out, but I do think you have opportunities to spend that you may not do it, right? So usage of the drive meter also makes a lot of sense, right? You need to be able to spend that resource, right? You can't, if you just hoard it, you're never going to get anywhere, right? Especially with a character like Deejay, gets a lot of mileage off of raw drive rushes and like drive rush cancels, right? So be willing to spend the meter, right? So anyway. Okay, cool. So while I'm bringing up one of the other replays, do you have any questions or anything like that you're thinking of at the moment that you want to?
No, I'm just taking it all in. That's all.
Okay.
Take my little move.
Yeah, for sure. And again, this VOD will be on YouTube probably tomorrow or something like that, or later this week. So you can always look at it later if you want to, right? So, all right, cool. Let's take a look at one of the replays here that you sent me. I'm just gonna grab a random one here. JP's a little tough. I don't want to talk about that because JP is kind of a matchup where it's like less about the fundamental stuff and more about JP. So it's
Yeah,
only one, so that's not as interesting either.
I tried to put a couple losses in there.
Yeah.
I had a pretty decent day.
All right, that's a good one. You won that one. Ah. Oh, didn't capture it. VG79. C. Oh, is there a space at the beginning? What happened here? VG79DUM. Oh, that's interesting. Why is that one not showing up? That's a JP1. Won that one. You had a good day in ranked, huh?
I did today.
Alright, let's see. Alright, this one should be interesting. Let's take a look at this.
I think he beat me pretty
handedly.
Yeah.
These are the ones that are the best because you learn a lot from it, right? So Elena's okay. So I'll preface this by saying my Elena matchup knowledge is not great overall. I do know that she gets certain plus frame situations and none of that from roll, a lot of that. But we can talk about the neutral game and some of the defensive decision making, right? So let's take a look. Okay, so they open up with a hard read on a fireball. You open up a fireball, that's life, right? Sometimes this gets jumped,
Yep.
sometimes this gets rolled. You know, that's just life. Okay, they drop their combo. They drop their follow up, and you go for a parry, right? So that actually worked out for you, right? So if they were paying attention and they weren't just autopiloting their Oki, they probably would have thrown you there, right? So, at any rate, they go for a bunch of light pressure here. You block it out, and now it's back to neutral, right? So, all right. All right, how'd you get hit here? Let's take a look. Okay, so what happened here? Why did this work? Right, so you press your button here. Or rather, Elena presses her button. You are +3, right? Based on this information right here. You are able to react faster than she can, right? Like, you have 3 frames advantage. But somehow you get counter hit, right? So what happened? So you are still plus. Oh, this is a target combo. Okay. So take a look here, right? So that's -3. But if you look here at this part right here, the follow-up looks like it's it looks like the issue is that this is target combo, the medium punch, right? So I guess that's a natural frame trap. Let me take a look 1 second. I don't want to lie to you about that. Elena here. Stand medium punch. Cancel it from 18 frames. Target combo. Which one did she medium punch? Medium to medium. Okay. Stand medium punch. Into that.
Medium.
It's the same medium punch, right? Yeah. So that's their target combo, right? So there's I guess there's a gap in between there. But if you look at what button you press a 6 framer here, right? So
Yeah.
Well, actually, DJ's stand medium kick is a little longer than that, right? 1 sec. Let's take a look.
Oh man.
Oh, that's crouching. Alright, so this button, the stand medium kick here, is 9 frames, right? So this is kind of a longer button, right? So
Yeah.
what I'm trying to get at is that when you are in a situation where you think you have some level of frame advantage, right? Maybe it's like 4 frames, 5 frames, whatever, like not necessarily punishable, but it's your turn. You want to be careful about pressing bigger buttons, even when you're plus like that, right? So like in this case here, even if we take away the target combo like frame trap piece or whatever, if you were -3 or -4 here or whatever, right, and you try to press a 9 frame button, your opponent could potentially abare and press a button when they're minus, and it'll tag you, right? Like you lose your frame advantage because you went for a bigger button. So what I'll suggest to you here is that in situations where you're not sure, or if you feel like mashing against what the opponent is doing, mash a 4 frame button. Right, so for Deejay, I think this is like crouching light kick or crouching medium punch, crouching light punch, something like that, a light, most likely. So if you're gonna mash something, mash a faster button, 4 framer, right? That would be the advice I'd give in this situation.
Okay.
All right, pretty minimal though. You got hit, it's no big deal. All right, so throwing fireballs again, I think this is fine because you're out of space. It's okay. But that frame trap thing happens again here, right? So it looks like there must be some window in here after the this is blocked where you can press and it'll get frame trapped. At least it'll frame trap this button. So if I press something else, let's see, because this happens to what this has happened twice now, right? So you block this, and let's say for Deejay, I think his fastest move is like a crouching light punch, probably 5 framer. Crouching light kick is a 4 framer. No, does he have a 5 frame move? Standing light punch, okay. Right. So the 4 frame button that I press there interrupts the target combo, right? So it's fast enough to where it'll interrupt it. Like we see this right here, right? What happened here? So after this, right, so right here, right? So the reason, again, I'm emphasizing this is because I think on defense, if you want to select this option, this is the option you should be selecting, right? Right. So you see how it interrupts the target combo there?
Yeah.
Because it's faster, right? It's 4 frame move, and I'm guessing that whatever that window is in the target combo, whatever that thing is there, it's fake, meaning that you can jab through it, right? So if they do the target combo on block, you can mash through it. That all said, again, the reason I bring it up is because defensive decision-wise, if you are going to mash your fastest button, right? Or mash reversal, right? So you can mash EXTP here, potentially, right? So if I go here, right, after this is blocked. So let's say here, right, you already have charge, so right, you could do something like this. Right, I finally flash kicked, hooray! But it's what you see what I see though, right? Is that like if you are gonna mash something, mashing reversal is a good option, or it can be if you think they're gonna continue their pressure, or mashing a 4 framer, right? Like mash one of those 2 things. Don't mash big buttons, right? Like don't wake up with a big button is what I'm getting at. Like that's generally not a great idea, right? So anyway. Okay. I'll say this once here is that I think, this is a huge conversion for Deejay, right? You get a ton of stuff from here, so lab that out. Make sure you can do the machine gun upper or whatever extension you want from here, right? This is a huge opportunity.
I'm like, that's one thing like that, doing the XP fireball and having the heavy punch, then machine gun upper is such a struggle for me to do. It's really struggle. So I've been trying to practice that for a while. I'm still on a Series S controller, so it's
okay. And that's just, you got to grind it out, I think. But there are potentially other routes that you can take from the right. I've definitely seen other DJs use like more raw drive rush or other stuff. But landing that EX fireball, you should have a route there that deals a good amount of damage, right? Something in like the ideally here, right here, at this point, you spent 3 bars, right? EX fireball into raw drive rush, 1 raw drive rush bar, right? So 3 bars. Spent 3 bars for this, right? Ideally, you end up in these like 3,000 damage range, right? That's how much you should be doing, like for it to be considered a quote unquote above average combo, right? So it doesn't have to be 3,000. It could be like 2,500. It could be like 2,700. Some other route that you take here.
Yeah.
But 1,700 is not going to cut it, right? This is not enough damage for the spend that you did, right? So that's all I'm going to say about that. Now, if this is a combo that you're working on, you drop it, right? All that, that's all good, right? You're working through it, no big deal. But what I'm
Yeah.
getting at is that there are these situations that start to matter a lot more as you climb up, right? Because like the opportunities that you get start to dry up more, and because of
Yeah.
that, right, you have to now like maximize, get more damage out of the situations you run into, right, when you get them. So like this 1700 here, that if this was 3000, right, you deal twice as much damage potentially. And now it's like, instead of this much life where they have like 4 interactions, potentially now you only have 3 interactions or 2.5 interactions, right, to win, right? So that stuff starts to matter more and more. Right. For right now, I think just making sure you get your damage and all that is more important, but that's going to start to matter pretty quick here, right? So, right. Okay. So, -4 situation here, right? So you could have jabbed out. You don't. No big deal. They try to parry bait. And instead you land another sweep, right? It's good stuff. Okay. I think you just jumped back. So, I think your defense-wise, like, this was fine. You make a decision to reversal and it works. Totally fine. Alright, so, but here, though, like, we talked about the space thing, right? So after this, you have them in a situation where they have to back up now, right? You control this much space now, right? You ideally have charge, right? They don't know you don't, but you would have charge here, right? So if they decided to jump, they could get aid, right? So they probably don't want to jump here. DJ can control the space pretty well with stuff like stand medium kick, right? The sweep, the crouching medium punch, crouching medium kick, right? He can control a lot of the space down here, right? So what this means is that your opponent needs to respect the space between you and not walk into it kind of free or haphazardly, right? They could get hit. Instead of what you do is you give up all that space right, instead, right? So instead of standing your ground here and trying to get them back in the corner, you give up the space and now they can roll, right? They get an enhanced roll, right? So now this is going to be plus, right? +1 now, right? So now it's still their turn, and you can't technically press here. I mean, you can mash if you think they're going to throw, but it is their, it's their plus frames. And then you back up even further, right? So now the DI becomes real, and you get hit by this, right? But this whole sequence is predicated by that, right? So that decision right there to back jump, like jump backwards here, allows Elena to do the enhanced roll, right? Now you have to hold this pressure here. You back up and more, and then you get DI, right? So all of this stuff I'm talking about here is really just like giving up space for free, and that can be a death sentence in this game, right? Because now you're in the corner here, you're running low on drive, right? You get splatted. You have 1 bar to your name here, right? You don't have super yet. You don't really have a way out of this situation, right? Elena converts this, right? Now you are running low on drive here. If you do a driver's cancel or EX reversal, you're going to burn out, right? You have to deal with Elena pressing buttons because she's going to have plus frames on you here because it's knockdown, right? And you can't use level 1 because it's not invulnerable, right, for DJ. So you don't really have, like, now, again, you can make the decision to EX reversal here, right, if you wanted to, right, or D-rev or something like that, if you wanted to. But a better player would recognize the situation as you probably not wanting to burn out, and they'll play around that, right? So, like, if this was me here, I'd continue pressuring your drive bar, thinking you're not going to reversal, right? Because if you do, it's not going to kill me, right? You're not going to kill me with a EX reversal here, but you'll burn out for it, still in the corner, and the situation is still bad for you, right? So, like this situation here is very difficult to manage, right? Unfortunately, typically the advice you get from people when you say, "Oh, how do I navigate this?" is to not be in it in the first place, right? And you have to deal with the strike throw. You feel like you can't reverse it because you burn out, right? And then you go for an EX button here. It might have been something, and you get stuffed, right? But if we look at the situation here, you do the EX fireball, right? Like, this is way too close, right? For the fireball. We talked about that, right? So, wake up. If you're going to wake up with an option, typically you want it to be some sort of invulnerable option like that, or in response to a specific thing your opponent is doing, like a wake up low, right? Wake up special move, especially one that is not invincible in some capacity, usually you get counter hit, right? Even if they went for a meaty button here, like you get counter hit, right? Like you counter hit here. But if they kept that truly meaty, then your fireball doesn't even come out, right? You could probably get thrown, you get stuffed by the frame trap, right? So, oops. Wanted to see round 2. So again, if I wanted to try to break that replay down, I think there are situations where you try to mash through pressure, which is fine. Don't get me wrong, you can mash your pressure, but you need to mash the correct button, right? Mash the 4-frame. 4-frame or EX reversal, not 9-frame or a slower button, right? So that's one thing. The second thing is making sure that you don't give up too much space for free, right? Jumping back and giving up space to Elena is not great. In general, against other characters, not great either. So, okay, hard call out works.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Because if you've been playing this Elena and you've seen them go for a roll option as around start, they do something that's punishable by that, by all means, make the hard read, right? That's totally... I have zero issues with you saying, I think they're going to do this, and then blind the counter. Because it means you made a decision, right? You're thinking critically about what's happening. You made a hard read about something that's going to happen. In this case, it worked, right? So it's good. Right, so this string you autopilot a lot. This right here. This into this sand heavy punch. Right? So I've seen you do this multiple times through our set, and then this is I think the second or third time I've seen it like in this game, or maybe second time seeing this game. The other time we got counter hit, right? So anyway, the sequence is okay if the Elena presses a button, right? So if you look,
I try to catch him. I usually have a couple good days where I do catch him with it.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, because the reach is kind of as long, but like that particular time.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right, like that, right? This
Yeah.
probably probably get a ton of stuff like this, right? So, right, and then you convert into whatever. So if the opponent is no longer pressing on your space trap, then you need to not do that, right? Because if they stop pressing, and I do this instead, right? Oops. Right now, I get the punish counter whiff punish, right? So if your opponent has noticed you trying to go for the wish punish space trap type deal, they could just not press, wait for you to autopilot your button, and then you eat a fat punish here, right? So if you notice your space trap no longer working, then you have to do something else, right? So either you have to wait for them to try to punish you, or not do anything and just allow the turn to be over, or do something else, right? But if the thing you're doing isn't working, as I'm getting at, like if this isn't working anymore, you have to come up with something else, right? At least in that immediate term, right? Once they start pressing again, then it's okay. But you see here how if the Elena noticed what you were doing, like how what you were doing would have worked if the Elena was pressing. But if the Elena wasn't pressing and notices what you're doing, then you could eat the punish, right? Just because you whiff the button, right? So got to be careful about that. Again, I think this is a fine thing from DJ, right? You can do this. You're gonna get a lot of... You're going to catch a lot of people like this, right? Just have to be careful. If the option is no longer working, do something else. Right? See, that whiffs on crouchers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So here, I think you were talking about how do I open somebody up, right? Like, what do I do when they're kind of just blocking? I think with Junior is actually fine. All right. So you apply some light pressure here. Kind of see what they do. Right, they don't really press. So what I would say is that if you get an opportunity to try to throw them from this scenario, do it, right? So strike throw mix is incredibly strong and will remain strong for the rest of Street Fighter, probably, as long as blocking and throwing are in the game. So basically, if your opponent is just down backing, feel free to try to throw them, right? So see if they delay tech, right? Typically, people, if they're just committed to taking a throw there, they'll take the throw. Right? And then with DJ, if you get the throw, you get a throw loop situation, right? And then you can continue looping that and seeing what they do after. So, again, it's pretty straightforward, right? If they're blocking, throw them, right? As soon as they start delay teching that, checking that, or delay teching that, you shimmy them, right? And as soon as they start mashing buttons against your shimmy, that's when you meaty them, right? And then from there, if they continue blocking, you try to throw them, that whole cycle repeats again, right? So I think that you actually do a good job here overall, right? Look at this pressure. Right? Button. The only reason Elena gets out here Oh, they don't actually. Right. So this whole sequence is actually still good, right? You've been able to open them up a couple of times, right? You got landed hits, and here's a knockdown, throw loop opportunity, right? AD fireball, and then they OD reversal you, right? So it's unfortunate that your pressure ended, but you did a good job, right? Like, look how much damage you do. So from here, right? Right. So you took about a third of their life off in that sequence. You didn't spend any drive for it other than the OD fireball, which you had meter for. And you maintained your plus frames and able to keep them in the corner, right? And then at the end, when they reversaled, they only take off, 17% of your life, whatever, right? They're closer to burnout now, and the situation is still more or less the same, right? For them, they're still in the corner. They roll, you parry it, and now you're neutral again, right? So I think your offensive sequencing is actually okay. Right? I don't have any issue with what I'm seeing here. You just eat a reversal because maybe you extend a little bit, but it's not the end of the world, right? So I think you're doing fine here. Good air. Yeah, unfortunately, you get jumped. This is what it is. Oh, okay. So wake up level 1, tough, right? For DJ.
I know. Oh Lord.
Super? Oh, no. Okay, and then you die from here, right?
Yep.
Okay. So this reversal here, maybe not as well advised, right? You could have taken another throw. Right, you could take in a throw here, potentially. So all that would mean is that you would, throw happens, it happens, right? This landing go for throw loop again, maybe not. But if this gets blocked, you're dead, right? So
Yeah.
Again, I don't mind doing reversals, right? I think that's correct in the sense that you should be using that option if you can, right? Represent the option. But you do want to select it less, right? I think you did 2 reversals in a row here, which you would need a hard read for, and one of them wasn't invulnerable, unfortunately. But that all said, again, I think like if I were to break down this round into where it kind of went wrong, it was right there, right? So you threw a fireball, and they happen to jump it, right? Right. So is this spacing okay for a fireball? Actually, I think it's not bad, right? I think you were fine here. It's just your opponent made a hard read on a jump in, right? They don't react. Like if you look at the frame data, they actually jump before your fireball comes out. Like they're already in the air here.
Yeah.
Right. So this isn't like a reaction to a jump or anything like that. They just made a read, or maybe not. They just went for it. But either way, they just went for it, right? And it happened to catch your fireball. Yeah. So is this a bad fireball? It's bad because you got hit, right? But does the space make sense for you to throw the fireball? Probably. I think I would have gotten hit by the same thing, right? Throw a fireball here, it happens to get jumped. Again, they are preempting your jump, right? Or preempting your fireball. They're jumping early, so not much you can do about that. So it is what it is. Then from here, you kind of take a couple of combos, right? Right. They parry that, and then you reversal again, right? Yeah. Right. Thanks, Schaefer, for the follow. But yeah, I mean, again, was this round dictated by what exactly? And it just ended up being that you got hit by a jump in. That is what it is. But then you went for a reversal twice and happened to get blocked, right? And that's unfortunate. Now again, making a defensive decision to reversal is fine, but I think you might have been selecting a little too often in this game in particular, right? So, yeah. So that all said, again, some of the anti-air stuff probably is what you want to work on there, right? Maybe blocking more often on defense here if you don't have a read on what the opponent is doing. And then being careful on space trap situations you're trying to generate, right? So making sure that you're not just autopiloting medium button to heavy button or anything like that, right? So, cool. So what else? So did you want to see what the safe jump thing looks like? The OS for that, how to defend it?
Yeah, please.
Sure.
And once again, I appreciate everything.
Of course. That's what it's here for. All right, so I'm just going to do this. All right. All right, so let me set up a safe jump situation here. I'll use Ken because it's the only one I really remember. Alright, so I'm going to record Ken doing a safe jump here, right? So let me change this to this, right? Oh, wait, he's on block. We need this to be not on block. I guess it didn't matter, actually, but it's easier to time it this way. Oh, let's try it again. Ah, what am I doing? Right. So that first one is the jump in, right? The jump that comes down. The second one I'm going to record here is going to be the empty jump low. Right? So he jumps down, he does the low, right? The third one here is going to be the empty jump throw. Right? Okay. So those are the three things that Ken is going to be able to do here, right? So actually what I'm going to do instead, just to make it more apparent, let me think about this for a sec. Sorry, we're doing it live. Block reversal. Is this going to work? That's okay. We'll just do it this way. I think it'll illustrate the point, hopefully. So let's take a look at the replay, right? So, all right. So I'm going to turn the first replay on, right? And take a look at my inputs after this, right? Right? Oh, I messed up. I'm sorry. Let me do that again. Okay. So if you look at what I did here, is I was blocking high while the Ken was jumping, and then after I blocked low when the thing would have hit, right? So for a split second block low, and then I input a delay tech afterwards, right? So what this will do is if he jumps at me high, right, after the safe jump, I'm gonna block it high, right? If I do the same thing with this setup here, right, I end up blocking low, and the same thing here. Oh, I missed my delay tech. Right.
Okay.
So basically I did the same defensive option all three times, right? So what I can do is I can record a manual. It's actually kind of tough. What I was hoping I could do here is I would record that defensive option, and then have the computer do it while I try to do the three options that are coming in. Right, and you would actually see that the Ken would defend all three of those options. But I think you get the idea, right? If I block high, you block long enough for the high to have come out. If it does come out, you block it. If it doesn't, you end up blocking low. If the low comes out at that point, then you'll block the low. And if they go for the throw, you'll delay tech it, right? So it basically takes advantage of the fact that all of these options happen at slightly different timings. A couple of frame differences, but at slightly different timings, right? And then you basically input the same three inputs, right? Back, down, back, and then delay tech. And it covers all three options, right? You do have to be careful, though, because what a Ken can do here, if you go for this option, right? So I'm going to record a fourth option here. And this is basically the counter to what I'm talking about. Right.
So
The neutral jump shimmy, right? So, right. You see, I get hit by that, right? The other option that they could do is a delayed button on landing, right? So there's, I'm only showing you this because this isn't perfect, right? Just wanted to highlight that this is a defensive option, but if they are beating you, right, this is how they would do it. Or if someone's doing this to you on your safe jumps, this is how you beat it, right? The other thing a Ken can do here is like something like this. Right, so a delayed button on landing, right? So what this will do, right, is I'll get counter hit when I try to go for the delay throw, right? Delay tech. So yeah. I mean, there are options that you can do to defend the safe jump. There are options that beat the defense of the safe jump, right? And then there's options that beat that, right? So if they go for delete button, you could mash something, right? If they go for the neutral jump, you could just block it out and anti-air them, right? So on and so forth. But the idea there is that you block the safe jump, right? So you defend against the layer 1 safe jump. And then from there, they can decide if they want to continue doing that, challenging you to try to defend it, or they do something else, right? So cool, man. So yeah, if I wanted to try to sum up what I was seeing in your games, right? The first thing would be that in defensive situations, when you're trying to mash something, mash a faster button or reversal, right? So 4-framer or reversal, because you get hit in that situation. Otherwise, the second thing would be when you go for your auto-spaced spacing traps, like the crouching medium kick that's blocked, or crouching medium stand heavy punch. Be careful if your opponent stops pressing in that situation, right? So if they're not falling for the space trap anymore, try to do something else. Right?
Okay.
So those would do those two things, and then the last thing would be in knockdown situations, like on Oki, maybe block a little more, right? Obviously, the way I was playing you is I was kind of taking advantage of like what I was seeing in terms of your defensive options, like what you're actually selecting. But you probably want to reversal a little bit less and block a little bit more, right? Still reversal. Like, don't get me wrong, I think reversal is like the best option in the world, right? I'm a Ken player, but it doesn't always work, right? So, if you do want a reversal, pick your spots best you can, right? Don't reversal on safe jumps, obviously, right? It's going to lose. But when you have a read on what your opponent is doing, go for it, right? Represent that option. But the thing is, it is a risk, right? So if you minimize your risk by doing less risky things, so do that less often, right? Still do it, but less often. So, and then anti-airing in general, just making sure that you are on top of that, right? Would be the last thing I would tack on there. So, so cool, man. Hopefully it all made sense. Do you have time to run it back? You want to run it back? Is it late for you? I'm not quite sure what.
Yeah, it is kind of late for me, but
okay.
I mean, I think I got a little time.
Yeah, a little time. You sure? Okay. I mean, it's still pressure, but if you want to run it back, I always offer that, because I think what happens is when you start thinking about it throughout the replay, you're kind of like, oh, I want to try it, right? So, anyway,
I feel like I want to try it, but I feel like I'm gonna mess it up, because I feel like I'm still used to bad habits, and
I mean, if you improved 1,000,000% in like the hour that we had been talking without any practice, I'd be very impressed. it's very hard to stop doing the things that have been working for you, because like the way I always talk about it is that for most people, like the quote unquote bad habits, the only reason they're really bad habits is because they've been working, right? You don't do things if they don't work, right? So yeah. Anyway. All right, set the invite here, so we'll leave the mics hot and then join when you're ready. Just run it back real quick.
Man, pressure. Pressure's on now. It's got to be reboot.
Sure, no worries.
You got to pardon me the Discord stuff, because I'm not, I guess I'm not, I'm pretty savvy. I can't front, but I was just struggling with the Discord. It's not
no
like
worries, no worries. It's not a big deal. We were able to make it work eventually, so not a huge deal.
I see it. And my controller's low.
Heard the beep beep.
Yep. But all right, we're gonna give it a go.
All right, leave the mics hot because it's funnier that way. Good luck. So yeah, just try not to back. Oh, that was the other thing. Try not to just back up for free. I guess that was the last thing I probably should mention. Right. So don't just jump back or walk backwards. Try to stand your ground a little bit. That'd be the last thing.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I wrote that all in the notes too. I got it.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it's difficult, right? We've been talking. We played 3 games. I looked at 2 matches, and we've been talking for like 90 minutes, right? So. Oh, it's a tough whiff. Uh-oh. Nice. Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, caught jumping. Oh, I didn't cancel? Okay. But better though. You can see like how much different the game is if you're not trying to just go for those space traps all the time and like just kind of stand your ground a little bit. Oh,
Oh.
tagged. Oh. Oh no. Oh, tag knocking back. That's a very common thing though. Like after you block something to walk backwards, it's a very hard habit to break. I didn't see you do it too often, but this is probably the first or second time I've really caught you like that. So don't worry
Yeah.
about it too much. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. I totally understand.
You know, I'm thinking about all the stuff I'm not supposed to do. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm practicing.
Yeah. Nice. Oh.
Yeah, this is the late now. I'm getting tired now.
Yeah.
Dropping stuff.
Oh.
That crouching medium kick is just.
Yeah. It's button of the year, crouching medium kick, right?
And we show though, man. We show don't catch me with the little crouching medium kick. I can't.
Hey, I've been making my money on that for the last 20 years, man. That's how it is. Oh, nice check. Oh! Uh-oh.
Oh, come on.
Oh, no Sobot after that. The mix is real. Yeah. I mean, it's tough because I've been kind of changing up how I'm doing offense in the corner there, and like I don't think I've showed you any of that stuff. So, oh, nice. Oh, it sucks.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I know. Nice, man.
It was looking good, but you get the hit though. Like the important thing is that you're landing the hit in neutral, right? So you can always grind out combo execution, but landing the hit in neutral is important. Nice. Oh, nice! Man, that slide into up kicks is so cool, dude. Love that. Oh, that was okay.
See, bad habits again.
Yeah, it creeps in a little bit, but it's because your brain is trying to make those new connections, right? So. Oh, whiff slide. That was close. That was close though. It just happened to be right outside that range. You gotta be careful on the slower startup moves. Oh, nice.
Nice.
Oh, driver counter, traverse jab. It wasn't enough, not enough plus frames. Oh no. Nice. Uh-oh. Oh!
Good
Oh,
stuff,
so
man.
it was robbery. I got lucky at the end there. You had me. If you answered me, that's it, right? But
Yeah.
I think it crept in a little bit at the end. You started backing up, but you saw the first game we played and most of the second game we played when you stood there and kind of tried to control space a little better with your buttons. How much better the
Yeah.
round went for you, right? Like I had to do a lot
Definitely.
more to get through, right? I didn't get a lot of free space, so anyway, cool, man. So I did the summary a little bit ago, right? You can take a look at the VOD for that. I know it's late for you, so I won't keep you any longer than you have to be here. But yeah, you have any other last minute questions for me before you wrap up?
Juzzy, you are amazing. I appreciate you so much,
Thank you,
man. Even
thank you,
taking the time
thank
out,
you.
my old ass, still trying to play these damn games, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I do this for love of the community, man, and I think a lot of people get a lot of benefit from it. So I appreciate you.
Definitely,
Yeah, man, for sure. So if
definitely.
nothing else, man, you have a good night, and hopefully I'll see you on Fight Rise on the Discord.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Thank you,
take care.
man. Have a good night.
Cool, guys. Sit down and shut up. Thank you guys for watching. If you're still around, appreciate your likes, your follows. Shez Farach, I'm pretty sure I see you on the Discord, so thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. I know I don't always respond to messages and stuff as I'm working with the person, so I try to focus on what on their needs and stuff. So again, your follows, your messages, your chats, all that stuff, we do appreciate it. This has been Sit Down and Shut Up. I run this through the Fight Rise Discord. So Fight Rise is a fighting game community focused on Street Fighter 6. They run bi-weekly events through their One Fight Stand series. These events are basically a 7-round Swiss. If you are in Master, there are 2 pools for this these days, a higher master and lower master pool, so you'd be rank separated if you're in the MR. If you're below master, you'd be put into a round robin based on how many people actually join that are on master. I think typically ends up being like 6 or 7 people, so you'll play like a 6 or 7 round round robin tournament, right? For that, if you're not in master yet. It's a good time, good way to get tournament sets or tournament level sets in kind of more casual setting. You also do community showcase events through their One Fight Stand series. Basically, you can take a look at that at twitch.tv/FightRiseFGC for the past events that they've done. Basically, it's a community showcase event, right? So you get some folks in the community that have been, playing and participating, and they get to be on a showcase, right? They get to run some matches on stream. Really good time. They also do charity events. I think once a year they'll do a charity event in December. If you look at last December, it's been a long time now. You'll see the last event they did raised a bunch of money for the Raiden Foundation, right? So good cause there, and raised a bunch of money for that. I also want to talk about Big League KO. So Big League KO is basically a league format, so it is a 8-person round robin pool, rank separated pools. You'll be playing the 7-round round robin, playing 2 matches a week over the course of 4 weeks. They're all first to 5, so it's a good way to get longer sets with people in a tournament sort of setting. And after the league is completed over the course of the month, there'll be a postseason where if you make it out of your pool, you get to play in a postseason bracket. It's a lot of fun. A lot of great matches, hype matches. The Discord lights up whenever that happens. It's always a good time. If you like what I do and you're interested in a session like this for yourself, please take a look at the Fight Rise Discord. There is a section of the Discord called Level Up. You can find myself and the other coaches of Fight Rise, Jason Loserpants and Satora, their channels as well. So if you're interested in coaching with any of us, take a look at our channels. There's pinned messages that will explain how to sign up for these coaching sessions, right? Last thing I'll talk about is I am also part of the Newbie Fight Club. So Newbie Fight Club is a fighting game community focused on getting newer players into fighting games, mostly Street Fighter 6. They run lobby nights every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Mondays are typically modern Mondays, right? So if you run modern and you want to get into modern, interested in modern, that'd be the day to do it. You don't have to run modern, but it's encouraged to kind of change it up. Wednesdays are their lobby nights, primary lobby nights, like one would have been tonight. Newbie lobby night. So if you are interested in games with folks, right, in kind of a more casual, low pressure setting, you get on voice chat, we go to Battle Hub. It's a good time. Get a whole bunch of games with folks, get to meet people and all that. Always a good time. Friday's a little more freeform. Typically ends up being a lobby night where people just kind of show up in game. Sometimes they run. I think it's bi-weekly now. They run Swiss tournaments, right? So if you're interested in another tournament that you could run and enter in, I think it's rank separated as well. You'd be able to run a 7-round Swiss, I believe, is what they do. So I think it's every other Friday or certain Fridays they run these tournaments. So it's, again, good time, free to join, all that good stuff. The other thing I'll add for that is on Mondays every month. I think it's monthly now. There's a modern only tournament. So if you're a modern warrior and you want to fight against other modern warriors, or you're interested in playing modern in a modern only tournament, take a look at that. Again, join the Discord. Take a look at the events. See when the next one is. Join, sign up. Right. We always look for more people to play. Very active on both these Discords, so if you want to talk to me, get games with me, or chat with me about anything in particular with Street Fighter, you can reach out to me on both of those Discords, right? We're always happy to talk to people. So this has been Sit Down and Shut Up again. I thank you guys for watching if you're still around, and have a good night.